before we get started today, I just want to say I'm very happy to finally be back doing this. After I finally got all my issues worked out with the PC, as well as the internet, started having issues with that soon after I got back. But thankfully, both issues have been resolved. I want to go ahead and show off a couple things before we actually get started with the deck by Tyrese Jackson today. So, as you all may know, there was a recent Content City broadcast. We're going to be getting Gamma 2 and Gamma 1. They'll likely be coming to Hero Colosseum as well. I don't see why they wouldn't be. I realized I forgot to show off Icarus when I went to show off everything for DLC 14, so to rectify that, here we go. There's also a new artwork that came with the Content City broadcast. I'll be sure to show that off too. I'm just going to let Icarus do a couple animations so people can see what he does. He's cute. I voted for Oraclefish, but I'm okay with Icarus too. To my recollection, he was only ever music exclusive, right? But here's a... like all this dancing he's doing, it's a reference to the Lord Slug movie, when Gohan is meeting a Piccolo while he's meditating in the falls. Been a while since I watched that movie. Been thinking about going back to watch it again. Anywho, as you can see, comes in a couple other colors too, like Shenron. Or, I'm sorry, Gohan Kid's colors, and then Icarus Demon Clan colors. The Gohan color one just looks like Shenron to me. Icarus glitching out there a bit. I'm not sure what was up with that. And for that new artwork, it's just Mr. Satan and Boo. It's a nice one. I think so, anyway. Alrighty, let's get started with Hero Colosseum. I completely forgot which battles I have and have not done, so pardon me a sec. Alright, so it looks like the last one I might have done would have been Dodoria. Let me just double check. Okay, yeah, it looks like it was Dodoria, so we can pick up from there. Wrong one. Alright, so right now we're on Android 13. Let's go over the deck really quick. Visually, gotta say for the suggestion, at least visually a little bit boring, but very defensive setup. Got Vados, one of the best defensive units in the game. She's like mandatory for defense setups in my opinion. Defensive second 2, ultimate gauge down every turn. Number 179. I went ahead and put all dupes into HP. She's got more than enough defense to work with, and the focus with her is to really just be there. So that's why I just put everything in HP. No need to put anything into attack. Next up we have 6055, the attack version of Ultimate Gohan. Defensive second 2, and FHP cure of FHP 50L. Next up we have figure number 656, the defensive version with defense up second 2, and FHP cure of HP 50L. On the attack version, I went ahead and put all the dupes into attack because there needs to be at least one decent damage dealer in the deck in my opinion. Like, preferably 2, but this is more of a defensive setup, so. And then I could have probably put a couple of points into attack, but I felt like he wouldn't really have that much attack to work with to begin with. Plus, these free battles we're about to get into, relatively easier. Ought to be just fine. Next up, we have 2 of EX60 for Android 16, with defensive second 2, and ultimate gauge on every turn. I felt like he had more than enough defense. I felt like his attack was just fine. Decided to put everything into attack and HP for him, just so he could be around longer. Which in his case is very good, because he draws the attention of all opponents on the field. Now, something that I don't think a lot of people are aware of, and that's to do with the final form Frieza. I want to say from DLC 13. Anyway, I'll get into it after this fight. So, as you'll notice for Gohan, let's just look at the bottom part really quick. Attack second for minus 20% attack to all opponents, and minus 10% damage dealt by them. That turn only. Now, I bring up that turn only because, pretty sure with Final Form Frieza, and just from testing on my own, and watching mugs, notice with Final Form Frieza, nothing says repeatable or that turn only. If nothing says that turn only, safe to assume you can keep doing that and stacking it over and over. So, in my opinion, for that reason, Final Form Frieza is better than Ultimate Gohan, and Frieza even goes behind Vados. Now with Gohan, you're putting him out there in the front, where he's likely to take damage. So let's say by turn 3, Final Form Frieza is already on par with what Ultimate Gohan would have done without having taken any damage. While also making the opponent weaker. Then, if you want to, you could even factor in the first Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You're increasing his damage by 10% each turn, and decreasing the enemy's 10% each turn. So by like turn 4, he's already done more than Ultimate Gohan. Basically what I'm trying to say here is Ultimate Gohan is a very decent figure, but I think he's outclassed in a few turns. And me personally, I don't like that he can only go up in the front. That kind of shafts a defensive unit, in my opinion. Now for this deck itself, not bad. I think it could use a bit more damage, though. Because really the only decent damage dealer on this team that I'm seeing is the attack version of Ultimate Gohan. A lot of the character skills chosen, not terrible, but you're mostly just looking out for defense. I think you could have benefited from a damage character skill or two. Like attack up second, I think that would have been decent. To go with defense up second too. Because while you're boosting their defense and making them last a lot longer, you're also not dealing as much damage. Which, if you're facing a opponent's deck or a really difficult free battle where they're continuously adding on attack, or boosting their attack numbers in terms of percentage, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice on that front, in my opinion. Let's take, for example, that last free battle with full power Jiren. I think this deck would eventually crumble against it. Though it would take quite a while. I mean, you could probably get away with it, but all I'm saying is I think the deck could use a little bit more damage. That's all I'm trying to say here. I am curious to see how it would do against full power Jiren. We might do that before ending the vid here, actually. If these numbers are anything to go on. His attack on isn't that bad. Like, he's really good. He could be even better, though, with a couple of damage character skills. Like, just one. He would only really need one. Because another great thing about him is that he's... I want to say he's increasing attack and defense for all allies on the field. Let me double check. 350 attack and 170 defense to all allies, and 10% to ultimate attack damage repeatable. That's decent. I want to say the Super Saiyan 4 Goku also adds to ultimate attack damage. I could be wrong on that. It's funny, too, actually, that part of Super Saiyan 4 Goku's character skill, I mainly just used that to buff up my Final Form Frieza's ultimate attack. I can't for the life of me see Goku buffing up Ultimate Frieza's, I'm sorry, Final Form Frieza's ultimate attack, like in an actual fight. I think that'd be really stupid on his part. Maybe in the Tournament of Power, but that'd be the only time I could see him doing it. Was really cool to see him team up with Frieza and 17, though, to take down Jiren. That was awesome. Also, in case some of you missed what I posted recently on the channel, as far as, like, the community stuff, so I am going to be still posting Hero Colosseum each week. What I'm also going to be posting in tandem with that, though, would be Turtles in Time, Shredder's Revenge. I'm also going to be posting Paper Mario 1000 Year Duel 100% walkthrough. But the main focus of the channel is still going to be Hero Colosseum. So rest assured you will get your Hero Colosseum with whatever else I feel like uploading. Now, if anyone's wondering my progress on 1000 Year Door, I already beat Chapter 4 recently, and right now I'm just grinding up star points against Rockhawk. My playthrough is going to be really long, partly because something to do with the HD texture pack. The emulator has a much higher chance of just crapping out for some reason. So I'm having to do like a lot of save and load states. If it sounds fun, I assure you it's not. Been getting a few questions as well as to where Rockin' Robo has gone. He's just doing streaming on Twitch for the most part right now, so if you want to go and check him out, there you go. You can easily find him there. Because YouTube shafted him with a tutorial on how to set up a ROM hack for Pokemon. When other people have done it, and they didn't get, you know, struck or anything, they didn't do anything wrong according to YouTube's guidelines. Really not sure what's up with that. YouTube's weird. Oh, Ribrianne, you're so useless. Even with your EX, it's an improvement, but not a big one. It's viable at the very least now. Speaking of viable, it surprises me how little there are of figures who are not URs that actually are viable. Like, for example, Kaba, Frost, and Final Form Cooler. I would even say Slug. I think Slug's an R, though. And Golden Frieza, the R one. Chances are, if they're not a UR unit, it's best not to use them, which kind of sucks. Really, because at that point, you're just continuously farming TP medals and rerolling the dice, so to speak, until you actually get figures that are worth using, and even then, there are crappy URs. They could have done a little bit better with the balancing in this game, I think. I recall getting another question recently on which Vegeta I recommend using between figure, I think it was figure 269 or 270. I have to go back and look. That should be Vegito, I think. We need more Vegito figures. We still only have Super Vegito and then Blue Vegito. And even then, the Blue Vegito isn't that great. Now, Gogeta, on the other hand, he got a lot, and I mean a lot of figures for him. He's got 3 different versions of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. He's got technically 3 different versions of Super Gogeta. Actually, no more than that, because there are the EX. Christ, man, Gogeta has a lot of units. There's the base Gogeta, the Broly Super Gogeta, the Broly Blue Gogeta. Well, I mean, that's probably a given, but I mean, like, there's an EX form, and then there are 2 different other versions of Blue Gogeta. Two different versions of Fusion Reborn Gogeta. Dips and Bandai have a big hard-on for Gogeta, I think. I thought about it. I'm going to go ahead and do a fight against Full Power Jiren before we close out here. I want to go back and look at 269, 270, though, really quick for this other guy. Hang on a sec. To answer your question, I would recommend using 270, because he's got a lot more attack and speed to him. Pretty sure on that, anyway. Let me take a look here. Yeah, this is the one you want to use, 270. And you don't even need to put anything into speed. You can just put everything into attack. And he even has a spot behind Vados. He's a very good unit. Alright, next up we have, I'm not sure why I backed out of that. Oops. Dispo. And really quick, let's just take a look really quick here at Final Form Frieza before we get started with this next battle. So notice how there's no that turn only, or once only. Safe to assume everything here, like in his posing skill, is repeatable. So already on turn 4, he's better than Ultimate Gohan. He hasn't taken any damage at all, because likely you're putting him behind Vados. And I personally think it's better to use him with Super Saiyan 4 Goku, because from my own personal testing, I did use Ultimate Gohan. I didn't think he was that great, because I went against some of the tougher free battles. I used a setup consisting of Vados, Ultimate Gohan, and Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I get a lot more mileage out of this deck than I would have with Vegeta and Ultimate Gohan in place of 18 and Frieza. That's just from my own personal testing, though. You can feel free to use Ultimate Gohan. I think it's better to use Goku and Frieza, though. Goku, Frieza, and 18. This should be a relatively quick fight. I didn't really even have much chance to use 16, but from what I read Tyrese Jackson's comment, it seemed like the main idea was to just keep screwing over the opponent with Gohan. And if I find myself in a pinch, I think at that point, then I want to use 16. Correct me if I'm wrong down below. It just seems like the ideal thing to do. You're decreasing the opponent's damage with all that percentage debuff. Oh, that's right, I forgot. This still has his own ultimate Gohan. I want to say he's using the defense version. I'll have to look. This is what I was referring to earlier, by the way. I think he could have benefited with some more attack. Because against more defense units, you're in for a much longer fight. That's not going to take much here. Yeah. That's alright, I guess. Considering it is the defensive version. Damn, I can't look at the Gohan, it died. Oh well. One thing I will give Ultimate Gohan credit for is you can easily block all three columns with him. Me personally, I don't feel like I need to do that, though, because the deck I run with Toa can easily just heal up the entire, team, including my master afterwards. I prefer to take master damage than figure damage. Like, without your figures defending you, you're kind of left wide open. And it doesn't even matter that I'd be taking a lot of damage anyway with my deck, because you can easily just heal off all that damage with Toa. That is the trade-off, though, for it. Depends on what you want to go for. My preference is, figure. My figures, as opposed to my master. Like, obviously, if my master's taking that much damage, then yeah, at that point, I would need to block. But, honestly, I've never really had to do that at all with my main defensive setup. Like, I've never been forced to block all three columns with it. Yeah, that didn't do a whole lot. I feel like Golden Frieza doesn't have, like, any good URs anymore. Though I think he did get a new one. Curious to see what that thing's stats are like. There are a couple figures I need to test out, like the Ultra Instinct Son Goku, which I hear didn't do very well. Shout out to John, by the way, over in Muggs' server. Which, by the way, it really sucks what happened to his figures. Like, that seriously sucks. All of his data is pretty much gone. There we go. Very easy to go second with this setup, if anything. This ought to kill a Gohan. One other thing I'm not too particularly fond of with this deck is not enough coverage all across the board. I feel like the positions are very limited, but nah, it could be worse. I think technically the only trigger square not getting touched at all is like the bottom left. Alright, so now that those free battles are out of the way, let's go ahead and test that fight off against Jiren. This one. Because he has a lot of ridiculously hard-hitting units. Let's see, can this deck hold out? I already know Goku's gonna do a crap ton of damage to Gohan. Not too sure about this Jiren. This might hurt Klados a bit. Okay, no, never mind, we're fine. Alright, that Gohan's fine at least. Oh, wow, that's actually really surprising how little damage he took. I thought he was going to take quite a bit more than that. It's funny, too, it's not even the defense version I'm using to put that Gohan. I'm thinking about testing something out because it would require this Universe 2 patcher, but recently Unleashed has been working on a tool where you can make your own custom free battles for Hero Colosseum. I'm curious to see how my deck would do against this one. So that's something I think I want to experiment with later on. That tool of his is really neat too. You can even upload your own created figure battles online for the players. So essentially, it's kind of like Super Dragon Ball Heroes and the like, because I know you could do that there as well. Recently saw this really kick-ass attack that Unleashed made recently, where it looks like he's actually, like, spiking someone down on the planet. I'd recommend going to check that out. Wonder how he even pulled that off. Looks like that took quite a bit of work. Like, it actually zooms out, and you can see the, like, Earth and everything. And just this big explosion pillar coming down on top of it. Jiren is definitely getting a little bit stacked now, I think. But to be fair, we are also on turn 3. And Jiren is ridiculous. Not anymore, though. I know one serious counter, I think, for this team would probably be that Focus Flash Vegeta. Because he completely ignores all damage reduction effects. So I would say as long as you have him with Vados, that's probably one way to beat this deck. Other than that, though, I would say pretty solid overall. Like, worst I could say about it is, I feel like personally there's not enough damage on it, and visually, kind of boring. Doesn't have coverage across the whole board, but that's really not too important if you know what you're doing. I would say the deck was pretty well put together. You know, especially considering I haven't even had to use 16 at all this whole time. Sorry, I got distracted there. My cat was making noises. I thought he was going to upchuck on my bed, but thankfully he looks like he's alright. The boy Malice. Like I was saying, not to conclude, maybe a bit more damage, like, for the team, but other than that, very solid overall. I'm probably going to do a test later on with that new tool Unleashed made, because I do want to see how my own deck would fare against it. Though, to be fair, the AI is rock stupid, so, you know, we'll have to see what the AI ends up doing with that. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed. I'm really happy to finally be back doing some more Hero Colosseum. I missed interacting with everyone. Hope you're all doing well and staying safe out there. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.